Oh, am I on?
You're on.
Oh, wow. Okay. I tried it yesterday. Well, thank you for taking me in my call. Um,
Sure.
I got started. I got started with semi trucks, and it didn't work out too well. I did. I went through the CDL. Um, I put about 6 months into it.
Mm,
They put me on the OTR route right away, and first time ever going from desk job into semi trucks.
mm.
And so yeah, it was a really big wake up call. I was not prepared for it. Chickened out. Came back home. Struggled a little bit more because I wanted to find out what else I can do. I am so sorry, but I keep hearing myself when I'm talking. It's like an echo, so
Are
I'm
you
kind of getting
watching?
thrown off a
Are
little
you
bit.
are you are you watching the playback from another device other than?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
So
that you
the
said
the
it,
the the other device, turn it off. Yeah.
I just did. Yeah, when you said that, I did, and it made all the difference. Thank you.
Hmm.
Um, so after a little while, it occurred to me that I can start with um, making a list of all the things that kind of weren't working out for me, all the pet peeves that I had that I was struggling with the semi truck, and it turns out that the size of the vehicle was a big issue for me. When I actually put the pen and paper together, I realized that it was the size of the vehicle. I was constantly stressed out because it felt like I was going to kill somebody if I'm not careful with this thing, which is always true with that size of a vehicle.
Mm.
Um, and I signed up with a major carrier. I'm not going to name names, but they know that most of the guys that join are going to run away. It's
Mm.
it's the landscape that we're in. So they
So
wanted me out.
you you got your CDL through a company, is what you're saying?
Yes, yeah, and they put me out. I think it was the first time I was out was like a full 4 weeks right off the bat. First time OTR 4 weeks. I think it's pretty damn long. Um, I think they could have started me off little by little to get me used to it. But for whatever reason, they had me going for a pretty long time.
Mm.
Um, I was also very much under debt, um, credit card debt, and things like that. So I was struggling not just with the work, but also mentally. I wasn't in a good place, and that's a really bad combination when you're on the road. You don't want to. You want to have a clear mind. Let's just put it that way.
Mm.
But when I came back, it took me a little while, and I realized that, you know what, I can actually get a cargo van instead. And even with the cargo van, it took a little while until I signed up with another company, and I've been working under their MC now
Mhm.
for a little while, and I think I'm going okay for now. It's not huge amount of money rolling in, but it's survivable, and it's giving me enough, I would say, energy to basically think a little bit ahead. And I'm thinking of scaling, but then I saw your uh, podcast yesterday,
Mhm.
which kind of put me at pause. I really like the fact that you said, instead of running into scaling, which everybody wants to do, because they think, hey, if I'm making $10 with this, I can be making $20 with that, with two. But it
Mhm.
doesn't work that way. And
Mhm.
I like the fact that you said to pay off the vehicle you have before you get into the next one.
Mhm.
So all these things that they're stewing in my head, what you were saying makes a lot of sense. And so, yeah, man, I mean, I can't thank you enough. I hear you all the time. I'm sometimes working regional and sometimes I'm doing local, but I constantly have you running in the background on my Bluetooth. So thank you so much.
I
Can't
appreciate you.
appreciate your work enough.
I appreciate you for listening.
Yep. Well, I kind of stumbled on to your work. I I went on two different channels because nobody knows anybody on YouTube. Everybody seems like a talking head. Everybody's talking about. I was actually looking for the difference between running a box truck versus cargo van,
Mm-hmm.
and so my thought process was like, well, if there's more room in a box truck, like a small box truck, then compared to a van, that might be a better way to go about. But you kind of go through and iron out a lot of my questions before I mean, this is the first time we connected, right? Even before that, if you just keep listening to the podcast, you kind of go through, you do rant a little bit every now and then. You vent and stuff like that, which is funny, but within that, I get a lot of my answers. So yeah,
Okay. I'm glad. I'm
yeah,
glad you enjoy the show. I'm glad you're getting the value out of it. I'm glad you
yeah.
enjoy the entertaining rants. I do it for entertainment, Gotta
I
make it.
get you.
Box
I
truck
get
and
you, and you
cargo
have
van
to be
can be kind
yourself.
of boring after a while, so you gotta throw some throw
Yeah,
some type of entertainment in there. So I
yeah.
appreciate the fact that you appreciate the content.
hmm And we get to hear the real you. It's not scripted or anything. You
Mhm.
basically speak off the cuff. So I like that. I We get to see the real you, and what you have to say and how you see things. And it's always better to use somebody else's experience that has gone through where I'm trying to go. You know,
Mhm.
somebody's that has already taken that road. So yeah,
Appreciate it, man. Any questions
yep.
for me? Or you?
I'm still struggling, trying to figure out how to scale because at some point I'm 46 right now. I just turned 46 uh, in October, and I may not be able to do this in the next say 10 years. I used to be a IT guy. I have done programming for the last 22 years, and that's why I kind of shifted away. I didn't want to be stuck sitting in front of a screen all day long. I really enjoy driving my van, which is kind of absurd to my wife and family. But they understand that, yeah, I'm actually having fun. It doesn't seem like work to me. The whole day I'm just listening to YouTube and Spotify and whatnot, and I'm also doing my work. It's There's no boss over my shoulder. I'm not trying to piece together a puzzle, a programming puzzle, or anything like that. So it's really a good escape from what I've been used to. But at the same time, because I've been used to sitting in front of the screen all day, every day for years and years and years, and now I'm
Mhm.
sitting in the cargo van, body does break down when it sits for that much time. It really does. So I'm trying to think ahead. I have a daughter, I have a wife. I want to be able to leave them something. You know, doesn't mean that I'm going to die tomorrow, but it's better to plan ahead and get your ducks in order. Uh, as early as you can, so that you have a good plan going forward. So I want
Okay.
to find out. I want to find out how I can scale. It may not. I may not start tomorrow because I still have to pay off my van. But at some point, I want to know how to scale.
Mhm. Uh, well, you said you're still paying a note, right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
About 2.5 years.
What kind of van you got?
It's don't want to ask. It's a horrible deal that I got. I got a 2014 ProMaster. It's a 2500. It's an extended. It is a high roof. But like you said, like most ProMasters, the transmission already gave issues. I put in a whole lot of money into that. I put in a whole lot of money into all the other little things that I had to tweak and fix and things like that.
Mhm.
Right now, it's about 224,000. I When I bought it was 170,000. I bought it. Um, I bought a 170,000 mile ProMaster 2014 at $17,000, which is not a bad deal. But then, I got I because it was kind of high mileage. I did add on the extra warranty that the dealership had, and I think um, I did make a bad move taking that. But I just wanted to make sure that just getting the van doesn't break down the next day, or 6 months later. I wanted to feel security at a certain level. So I put in, I bought that extra warranty for about 2,500, and then of course the financing charges and the loan. So the whole thing kind of comes to around 25,
Mm-hmm.
which is still not bad. I mean, the way I was thinking is, look, I needed a car. My wife already had a Honda HRV. It's a teeny tiny car, but it's good for what she needs to do. Um, I figured I need a car for myself before we were sharing the car. I needed a car for myself. I can buy a cheap, automobile
Mm-hmm.
within that price range, or I can make, I can get a van within that price range that can actually make me money. So I opted for the latter. And yeah, I think overall I got a bad deal on the van, but overall I did the right thing. I got a van, and it did make me a lot of money. These days, I'm doing this full time. I'm not doing. Before I was kind of 50-50. I was working from home on the
Mm-hmm.
IT in the daytime, and then evening time I was doing the uh, regional. What do you call it? Expedited runs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not doing that anymore. Nowadays I'm doing this full time. So in the mornings I have a local route that I'm doing. It does not have specific amount that it pays, but it has to do with the number of stops. So some days it'll be a lot of stops, and some days it'll be very few. So it kind of goes up and down. But it's good to know that it's something I can rely on every morning. So there's a yeah, so it's dedicated in that sense. And then after that's done, I take whatever the company throws at me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so
Okay.
it goes anywhere from I would say high end would be around 1,800 a week to a low end around 1,000 a week. But I usually average around 14, 15 hundred a week, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with. I'm comfortable with that. But I think if I can scale it, if I can scale it, I can do a lot better.
Um, I think you should pay off your equipment, and then from there, I would try to find some dedicated contracts that would leave you enough room where you can make a few bucks. I mean, the cargo van business. If you're staying local, you want to do local or expedited.
I want to do whatever works, just not OTR. I don't want to be away from home for more than 2 days, 3 days. Um, so anything like even regional, 600-700 mile runs are fine because I can. It's a van, so I can just keep driving. I mean, I can drive back. But
Find a
then again,
dedicated.
those
Find some
that
dedicated. Find some dedicated stuff. You might want to look into laser ship. Look into
okay,
laser ship and see if you can get some routes with laser ship. I mean, the margins are small, but it's how vans are. So the more
yeah,
vans you have, the more money you make. Look into laser ship.
okay,
Lasership/on track ONTRAC. Uh, also look into like T Force and Watco and Capstone for like opportunities with office supply, and T Force also has medical as well.
okay,
So looking at those, I'll probably go with Lasership first,
Okay.
see what you can do with them, and then just go from there. And then I go like one van at a time. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take some time to scale because
Yeah.
you kind of want to. I mean, my strategy has always been to recoup. Each time you get a new vehicle, recoup that before you get a
Yeah.
new one. So if, I've always purchased cash. So if you have the right contract, you purchase cash depending on how much you purchase for, and the contract you have depends on how soon you'll recoup your money. So
Okay.
the more aggressive you run the vehicle, the sooner is you'll recoup the money, and then you can recycle that same money to acquire the next vehicle.
Okay. That helps. So I got another question. If I haven't worn you out yet, um, how much would you cap on buying a van? Is there like a dollar figure that you say, okay, I'm not gonna go above that?
For a used van, 20. I see them in this
20.
market. I see them in this market for less than 20. Like I've been
Okay.
telling everybody, I think I think the best way to go is, since Amazon is dumping all their older vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, they're under 20, so you're getting already upfitted van for under 20 grand. Now I don't know if every market, but they're flooded in this market.
Okay.
So they're everywhere. You can
Yeah.
find one for under 20 grand. So you're getting a high roof extended length 2500 that's already upfitted for. I've seen them as low as 16 grand, so about 150,000 miles. So I
Right.
wouldn't go over 20. Now new, I wouldn't go over 30.
Okay.
So, and I know that's going to be kind of hard today,
Yeah.
but I would not buy new. I would buy used.
Gotcha.
Mm.
And would there be a limit on the mileage for you?
150, 175.
Okay. Okay. There was a third name you said I kind of missed. You said T-Force, Waco, and then there was the third one,
Capstone.
Capstone. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you might
taking
want.
notes
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem.
because it's like pearls of wisdom. I'm not gonna get you every other day, man. So
No, it's
might
all
as
good.
well make use of the time.
No, it's all good.
Um, would you consider going into box truck for someone like me?
What do you want to do with a box truck?
I want to be able to rely on least number of people and make the maximum amount of money. Um,
You're gonna need people with a box truck. You're gonna need them
right?
to drive. So when I say, what are you looking to do, like over the road, local,
Yeah, I'm thinking of local.
like
I
what,
figured,
curbside, final mile?
I figured curbside, get a helper, and I drive myself.
So if you're looking to do big and bulky, like appliances and furniture, or just pallets?
Just about anything I can get my hands on in the beginning, because in the
I,
beginning I
I,
won't know what I don't know.
so if you're gonna do big and bulky, then you're gonna be lifting stuff. Now I did hear you say you were 46. So
Yeah, yeah.
are you think you're gonna get out there and lift refrigerators and washers and dryers up and down flights of stairs and stuff like that? You think you're
Oh
gonna be able
shoot,
to do that?
no,
Alright,
probably not gonna work.
so then you're probably looking more like palletized curbside stuff. So I mean, where do you live at?
Columbus, Ohio.
So you're gonna have to try to find a local curbside contract. Um, do you have an MC?
No, not yet.
All
Looking
right,
into it though.
so T Force has contracts. Capstone has those contracts. Um, US Pack has contracts. US Pack also has cargo van contracts too. US Pack, T Force, Capstone, RNL, RNL carriers. They're kind of tough to get in, but if you can get an RNL carriers, they pay pretty good for curbside if they have it in your market. But there's a 9 month. You have to be active for at least 9 months to get in with them.
Gotcha.
And then there's other contracts. I would go on Indeed and look to see if there's any opportunities for one man 26-foot box truck opportunities in that market. High turnover with the box truck, but I mean, if you can find some curbside stuff and you can pay a driver really, really good, then you should be able to have a high retention as far as keeping drivers is concerned.
Right. Do you pay your drivers flat fee, or like how does that work?
It always depended on the route. You know, if we were getting paid, most pretty much everything that I've done has been at a guarantee. So,
Okay.
you know, we get a guarantee, then I pay them per route. And there are some stops, final mile, big and bulky stuff, they got paid per stop. So if it was a guarantee, then they got paid flat, a guarantee. If it was a per stop thing, then we paid them per stop based on what the contract or the retailer was paying, and depending on the scope of work. So curbside would pay obviously less than a threshold, and a threshold would pay less than a white glove. So depending on what the scope of the delivery was and what the retailer was, depending on what they got paid. So the driver had a driver rate, so it was a rate sheet, driver rate sheet, helper rate sheet, and then we would have all the retailers, right? And then we would have the scope of work. Is it a curbside? Is it a threshold? Is it a threshold room of choice, or is it a white glove? And if that retailer, and then in each category, okay, if they looked and see if it was, let's say, Webster Run, if it was a curbside driver, they would look Webster Run, driver, curbside would be their rate. If it was a white glove, then they would see their rate. So if it was a per stop type of thing, then they
Hmm.
would get paid per stop based on the scope of the work and the retailer. If it was a guarantee route, then they would get a guarantee.
Okay. Gotcha.
Then all my moving guys got paid by the hour.
Okay. Um, as much as I've heard you, I've noticed that you kind of lean towards recommending cargo vans over the cargo box trucks. Is it because most people are not good with budgeting and they kind of not estimate their their numbers correctly? Is that why, or is there anything else to it?
I pretty much profile everybody.
Okay.
So, you're an older guy, not judging you, but you're an older guy. And I
Right.
just, coming from a moving and final mile background, I just know what it entails.
Right.
And, what I did getting started at 30, if I had to do everything that I did at 30 now, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm a strong, fit guy, right? But, you know, I literally just left the gym about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours. Once I go to bed tonight, all the work I did, my body is gonna lock up. All the stretching I did,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get like I'm not elastic like I was
Right.
when I was 30. So a lot of those sacrificing that I did and those long days, and I just can't. I wouldn't be able to. The amount of work to build that business to where I got it to, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I just. I don't. I wouldn't be able to. My body won't. I would clunk out after maybe one or
Yeah.
two jobs, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it. So, you know, certain people I can listen to, and they can have big dreams, but people, I get people that, well, man, you're knocking so much. Listen, I've done it. I've seen grown men, like big, strong guys that just got out the joint, that were, lifting cinder blocks.
Yeah.
First day, send them out there and give up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I've
wow.
had people first day going up flights of stairs in heat and just start vomiting all over the place. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
I know what it entails. So it depends on the situation. OTR guys, like when I listen to some of these guys, if I can just listen to them in a basic conversation, like a lot of the math that you have to do with OTR as far as keeping your cost and cost per mile, and a lot of these
Yep.
guys, like, it never fails. They just refuse to do it. They
Yeah.
refuse to do what they're supposed to do to run their business efficiently. And I could just listen to people and just like, no, you ain't gonna make it. So the middle mile guys, they just can't figure out operational costs and just how the market fluctuates and supply and demand and how they enter as far as their operational costs and how that matters based on the market and stuff. And that's that issue. And then on the final mile moving side, I just know some people just ain't gonna be able to do it. That's why I
Right.
recommend, okay, go curbside. It's labor, but it's not as strenuous as actually physically carrying stuff multiple stops all day,
Right.
right? And then some people, I'm just like, cargo van is more cut and dry. It's smaller parcel, pays less, but you
Yeah.
know, it's not a lot of heavy lifting. A smaller parcel, um, so it's working parts to it, but it's not as complicated as
Right.
some of this, 26-foot box truck. So everybody's situation is different. I kind of listen to people's stories and just kind of pay attention, and then I kind of like go off each individual what I think, so.
Gotcha. I think it's a. I think it's a superpower to know what your weaknesses are,
Mm,
and and we all have some, right? If I know that there's certain things I can't do, just admitting it would allow me to circumvent and not have to deal with that and maybe go off into something I can do easier.
mm,
So, I mean, just how I look at it. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm gonna just simply go ahead and keep chugging along and knock out the payment for the van and get another van after this and keep it going. At least
yep.
this way, at least I know the cargo van environment.
Hmm.
I don't have to relearn everything all over.
Yeah, if it's not broke, then nothing to fix. So if you already been doing that, I would just build on what you already have and what you already know. I mean, scaling up to the box truck thing is cool. I mean, it's more money, but you could build a fleet of 15, 20, 30 vans
Yeah,
and still do the same thing. I mean, you're running with more equipment, but if you can master what you're already working on, it's pretty much the same thing. You're
right.
just working with more equipment. That's all. So, I mean, the cargo van opens you up to a bigger pool of applicants, right? Because
Yeah,
you can hire women, whereas with this big and bulky stuff, you can't.
yeah,
With this moving stuff, you can't. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
a lot of this big, heavy physical labor stuff, it shuts women out. It shuts a lot of guys out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So with this cargo, this small parcel stuff, it opens you up to more applicants. So
right. And then you never know what kind of driver you're hiring. Um, Only time tells, right? Whether you picked out a winner or not.
with me,
Um,
if I was building a cargo van business, I would pretty much hire all women. I'm looking
okay,
for single mothers. Yep.
gotcha.
I'm not like young kids fresh out of high school, college. Nope. I'm looking for
Gotcha.
somebody that has some responsibilities. In
Yeah,
today's times, it's just a lot of things people can do to make money. It's a lot
yeah,
of distractions, and it's not like back in the day where people needed, like, you had to find a job or else you would be broke. Like with the
right.
gig economy and all the scamming, and it's just too many opportunities. Like a person can walk out on your job and cut on a bunch of apps and be delivering for Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub and Roadie, and they'll still make money. So like, as back in the day where the power was in your hand as the employer, the roles are reversed. The power is in the employee's hands now, and they pretty much know it. Like you
Right.
can't, like some of the tactics that I used to use back in the day, it wouldn't fly today. You can't just threaten a person's job or punish them, because my thing was, I would, if you piss me off, I'll give you a week to think about it. And
Hmm.
that was my scare tactic where people didn't want to get on my bad side, because like you're gonna go a week without work, so you're gonna lose a week of revenue. You
Right.
can't you can't like that doesn't work today. You give a person a week off, they're already signed up with a
Go
multitude of
down.
apps,
Yeah.
and now they're flirting with that. You're playing uh what's that game called, where devil's advocate, whatever that game is called,
Hmm.
where now they're signing up and they could go sign for a bunch of apps, and they could be making more money running a multitude of apps than what you were paying them. Then when you
Right.
call them back after that week, they don't want to come back now. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So back then these opportunities weren't present, right? So uh now, if I were building a business as far as like a cargo van business, I would look for people that have responsibilities, like single mothers, people that got like rent, mortgage to pay.
Hmm.
These are the people that I know, are going to come to work. These are the people that I can rely on, because pretty much everybody now is fair weather. So
Right. Right. Another question for you. As a entrepreneur, as somebody who's scaling, how much of the revenue that's coming in do you keep for yourself? Because I hear from everywhere, you got to pay yourself first. But then I mean, it's a balancing act. You can't just pay yourself first because you need money to grow that business too.
yeah, people that say that, I've you got some people that preach that, some people follow it. I from the way I was taught and just from growing a business, get paid last. I can't pay myself first, and then, if especially if I'm building a business, then something's got to get sacrificed. So I'm paying myself. So what's being neglected? Like,
Right.
if anything's going to be neglected, it's going to be me. I'm gonna make sure everybody gets paid. I'm gonna make sure all the vendors get paid, all the bills get paid, all the
Right.
invoices get paid, and then whatever's left, then that's when we break that down. And if there's something left, then I'll get paid. Like, that's the sacrifice when you're building a business from scratch. You're the last person to get paid. I
Right.
mean, it's debatable, but people that are building business, they pay themselves first. Something is getting neglected.
Right. Because the bills are your bills at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
you
So
you pay the bills.
I say pay yourself last.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
And how do you see? Let's just talk about cargo vans, not because every vehicle is different, and they're going to bring in different amount of revenues. But for a cargo van, how much should an average cargo van be making, so you know whether you're on the right trajectory or you're lower or higher?
what local work?
Local work, yeah.
Average cargo van on a local route usually averages around about $300, give or take a day.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you so much, brother. Can't thank you enough. I hear you all the time. Keep doing what you're doing. There are a lot of people, they don't get to connect with you all the time, but we hear you, and we can't thank you enough.
Appreciate you for calling in.
All right, thanks.
All right,
Bye.
be safe. Bye.